You think love is a fairy tale. You think it is destiny, written in the stars, or a mysterious spark that just happens if you are lucky. You are wrong. Love is not magic. Love is a biological bribe. It is a survival mechanism, a cold, hard chemical code written into your DNA to ensure you don't die alone and that your genes survive the next generation. If you are struggling to connect, if you feel like you are invisible, or if you constantly end up in the friend zone, it is not because you are unlucky. It is because you are playing the game without knowing the rules. By the end of this video, we are going to strip away the poetry and look at the raw machinery of the human brain. I'm going to show you the 3 exact chemical phases of love, how a woman's brain scans you in the first 3 seconds, and how you can technically hack these biological triggers to create deep, obsession-level attraction. This is not pickup artistry. This is evolutionary biology. Welcome to the lab. Before we talk about love, we have to talk about the filter. When you walk into a room, before you even open your mouth, a woman's brain has already made a decision about you. The human brain is a lazy machine. It doesn't want to analyze your personality. It wants to scan your survival value. But here is the catch. Men and women scan differently. Men scan for quantity. A man looks at a woman and his biological question is simple. Is she fertile? He looks for clear skin, the waist-to-hip ratio, and youth. It is an inclusionary filter. He is looking for reasons to say yes. Women scan for quality. Her biological risk is massive. If a man makes a mistake in reproduction, he loses 5 minutes and some calories. If a woman makes a mistake, she faces 9 months of pregnancy, childbirth, and years of raising a child alone. The stakes are lethal. So, her brain uses an exclusionary filter. She is looking for reasons to say no. She is scanning for safety and status. She isn't looking for a Rolex. She is looking for resource potential. When you stand with your shoulders rolled forward, looking down, fidgeting, you are signaling low status. You are signaling, I am not a protector. Her amygdala, the fear center, lights up. You are rejected before you even said hello. To pass the scan, you must trigger the safety signal. You need to display non-neediness. In the wild, the leader doesn't beg for attention, he commands it. If you are constantly texting back instantly, if you are always available, you are signaling that your time has no value. You are failing the scan. Once you pass the scan, you enter the timeline. Biological anthropologists have mapped this out. Love isn't one big emotion. It is 3 distinct brain systems, firing in a specific order. If you try to jump to the end, you fail. If you stay in the beginning too long, you fail. Phase 1 is lust. This is driven by testosterone and estrogen. It is the craving. It is purely physical. It lasts from the moment you meet up to about 3 months. This is nature's way of getting you interested. But lust is cheap. It fades. If you build a relationship only on this, it will collapse in 90 days. Phase 2 is attraction. This is the obsession. This is the dopamine and norepinephrine spike. This is when you can't sleep, you lose your appetite, and you think about her 24/7. This phase creates focus. It conserves your metabolic energy by making you ignore all other women to focus on one target. This lasts from 6 months to 2 years. Phase 3 is attachment. This is the end game. This is driven by oxytocin and vasopressin, the cuddling hormones. This is what keeps parents together long enough to raise a child. Most men fail because they try to force attachment, phase 3, when she is still in lust, phase 1, or they rely on attraction, phase 2, forever. And when the dopamine wears off after 2 years, they think they fell out of love. You need to know how to trigger each one. Let's talk about the biggest mistake men make on the first few dates. You invite her to coffee or dinner. Biologically, this is a disaster. Sitting across from someone eating food is a safety behavior. It is low energy. It is boring. You are asking her brain to generate attraction out of thin air. If you want to hack the attraction phase, you need to use a psychological glitch called the misattribution of arousal. There was a famous study done on a suspension bridge. Men who walked across a scary, high, shaking bridge were met by a female researcher at the end. Men who walked across a safe, low bridge were met by the same woman. The men who crossed the scary bridge were 50% more likely to ask her out. Why? Because their hearts were racing from fear. But the conscious brain is stupid. It felt the racing heart, looked at the woman, and decided, I must be attracted to her. You can use this. Stop going on coffee dates. Take her to a horror movie. Go to a theme park with roller coasters. Go to a high rooftop bar where you look over the edge. Go go-karting. You need an activity that spikes norepinephrine, the energy and anxiety chemical. When you do something thrilling, her heart rate spikes. She feels a rush. Then, when the ride is over, she looks at you. Her brain seeks an explanation for that feeling. If you are standing there, calm and smiling, her brain labels that feeling as chemistry. You didn't just have a date, you shared a survival experience. That is how you hack the obsession phase. Okay, so you have the spark. The dopamine is flowing. But dopamine is like sugar. You build a tolerance to it. Eventually, the butterflies stop. If you don't bridge the gap to oxytocin, attachment, the relationship dies around the 18-month mark. How do you manufacture deep love? In the 1990s, psychologist Arthur Aaron conducted a crazy experiment. He brought two complete strangers into a lab, a man and a woman who had never met. He gave them a list of 36 specific questions.
36 questions that gradually get more and more personal that both people answer, as well as a few other items in there like saying what you have in common, things you like about the other. Then when you do these things, you're going to feel closer to the other person. Now, does that make falling in love? It could contribute to it. Part of falling in love is feeling a connection. Certainly, if many other things are in place and this happens, it could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
At the end of the session, they had to stare into each other's eyes for 4 minutes. The result? 6 months later, those two strangers got married. This experiment proved that intimacy is an action, not an accident. Here is how you use it. The questions are designed to move you from small talk to deep vulnerability. Small talk keeps the brain in safety mode. What do you do for work? Nice weather. This releases nothing. To trigger oxytocin, you need reciprocal disclosure. You need to ask questions that force her to look inward. Instead of, "Where are you from?" you ask, "What would constitute a perfect day for you?" Instead of, "Do you like your job?" you ask, "If you could wake up tomorrow having gained one quality or ability, what would it be?" And then you enter the high-stakes zone. You ask things like, "What is your most terrible memory?" Or, "When did you last cry in front of another person?" Here is the hack. You must answer first. Vulnerability triggers a safety response in women, but she won't go first because it's risky. When you share a fear or a dream, you signal, "I trust you." Her brain releases oxytocin to bond with you. When she shares back, the loop is closed. You are tricking the brain into thinking, "I am sharing my deepest secrets with this man. I must love him." While you are talking, you need to use non-verbal hacks. Humans have something called mirror neurons. We are programmed to like people who are like us. If she leans forward, wait 10 seconds and lean forward. If she talks slowly, slow your voice down. If she takes a sip of her drink, take a sip of yours. Do not be a cartoon, be subtle. When you mirror someone physically, their subconscious brain registers you as kin, family, tribe. It lowers the defense shields. It makes her feel understood without you saying a word. And then, there is the Benjamin Franklin effect. We think we do favors for people we like, but actually, we like people we do favors for. It is cognitive dissonance. If I help you, my brain says, "Why did I help him? I must like him." So, ask her for small help. "Can you hold my jacket for a second? Can you help me pick a song on the playlist?" By investing effort in you, even a tiny amount, her brain rationalizes that you are a person of value. Finally, we have to talk about the eyes. In Arthur Aaron's experiment, the final step was the most important. 4 minutes of silence, eye to eye. In normal society, we break eye contact constantly. It's a tension release. Holding eye contact builds tension. It releases phenylethylamine, PEA, the chemical cousin of amphetamines. It triggers the fight or flight response. But because you are sitting quietly, the brain chooses intimacy. You don't need to be creepy and stare at her for 4 minutes in a restaurant, but you must hold the gaze longer than is comfortable. When she finishes a sentence, don't look away immediately. Hold her eyes for 2 extra seconds. That silence, that tension, that is the spark. That is the moment her brain asks, "Why is he looking at me like that?" and answers, "Because we have a connection." Listen to me closely. Some of you will hear this and think it's manipulative. Is it manipulative to go to the gym to make your muscles bigger to look more attractive? No, it's self-improvement. Understanding how the human brain works isn't manipulation, it's social intelligence. The Disney version of love tells you to just be yourself and wait for the right person to find you. Biology tells you that the one is a myth. Love is not a person you find. Love is a chemical reaction you create. You have the tools. 1. Pass the scan. Posture, status, non-neediness. 2. Trigger the adrenaline. Active, thrilling dates. No coffee. 3. Trigger the oxytocin. Deep vulnerability, mirror neurons, and eye contact. Stop waiting for love to happen to you. Go out there, hack the system, and build it yourself. If you want to know more about the dark psychology of social dynamics, hit that subscribe button. We are just getting started.